Welcome to our channel Minutes Audiobook. Today we diving into Made to Stick, Why Some Ideas Survive and Others Die, by Chip Heath and Dan Heath, book. Please subscribe for daily videos. Introduction, The Curse of Knowledge. In the introduction to Made to Stick, the authors, Chip and Dan Heath, lay the groundwork for the book's exploration of why some ideas thrive and others are quickly forgotten. They introduce the central idea of the book, the curse of knowledge, and explain how this concept is critical to understanding why ideas fail to stick in the minds of others. The curse of knowledge. The Heath brothers start with an anecdote about a study conducted at Harvard, in which participants were asked to tap out the melody of a well-known song, like Happy Birthday. The person tapping out the song was much more likely to overestimate how easily the other participant would recognize the tune. In fact, the tappers thought the listeners would guess the melody half the time, but the listeners only recognized it about 2.5% of the time. This phenomenon, where the tapper has a hard time remembering that the listener doesn't know the tune, is an example of what they call the curse of knowledge. Once you know something, it becomes extremely difficult to imagine what it's like for someone who doesn't have that same knowledge. The curse of knowledge makes it challenging for experts or people familiar with a concept to communicate that idea in a simple, understandable way to others. The core problem, communication failure. The Heath brothers argue that this curse is the root cause of many communication failures. When experts or communicators try to share their ideas, they often speak in jargon, use overly complex explanations, or skip over the basic details that would make the idea understandable to an audience. They assume that the audience knows as much as they do, which leads to confusion and misunderstanding. To illustrate this, they cite the example of a public health campaign designed to promote the importance of hand washing in preventing illness. The campaign included complex statistics and messages about bacterial transmission that were difficult for the average person to grasp. This lack of clarity and failure to simplify the message made it less effective. The Heath brothers point out that ideas often fail because the messenger does not break the complex idea down into something simple, memorable, and accessible. Why some ideas stick and others don't. In this section, the authors introduce their overarching question: why do some ideas survive and spread, while others fade away? They propose that the key to an idea's success is not necessarily its complexity or novelty, but how well it resonates with the audience. To answer this question, the Heath brothers outline 6 key principles that make ideas sticky, that is, memorable and effective. These principles are: simplicity, the core of the idea should be clear and simple. Unexpectedness, the idea should surprise and grab attention. Concreteness, the idea should be tangible and easy to grasp. Credibility, the idea should be backed by trustworthy sources or evidence. Emotional, the idea should make people care by appealing to emotions. Stories, the idea should be communicated through stories that inspire action. The goal of the book. The goal of Made to Stick is to provide readers with tools and techniques for overcoming the curse of knowledge and making their ideas more compelling, memorable, and likely to spread. By following the 6 principles outlined in the book, anyone, from business leaders to marketers, educators, and everyday communicators, can craft ideas that stick. In the introduction, the Heath brothers set the stage for the chapters that follow, where they delve deeper into each of these principles. They also hint that while making an idea stick is not always easy, it is achievable with the right approach. The book's central focus is on identifying why some ideas become successful and stick in people's minds, while others fade away. The authors present 6 key principles for making ideas stick: simplicity, unexpectedness, concreteness, credibility, emotionality, and stories. Detailed chapter-wise summary of Made to Stick. Introduction, The Curse of Knowledge. Summary: the Heath brothers introduce the concept of the curse of knowledge, which is a cognitive bias that causes experts to assume that others have the same level of understanding as they do. This often leads to communication that is overly complicated and inaccessible. The introduction sets the stage for the book's central idea that effective communication relies on simplifying ideas to their essence. Key concept: to make ideas stick, you need to overcome the curse of knowledge and present your idea in a way that is accessible to everyone, regardless of their expertise. Chapter 1, Simple. Summary: the first principle discussed is simplicity. The Heath brothers argue that in order for an idea to stick, it must be boiled down to its most basic core. While simplicity doesn't mean dumbing down the message, it means focusing on the essential part of the idea. They call this the core idea. Example: the commander's intent in the military, which conveys a clear, simple mission objective that everyone can understand and follow, even under chaotic conditions. Another example is how Southwest Airlines simplified their mission: if we're not having fun, we're doing something wrong. Key concept: a successful message communicates the core of the idea clearly and concisely, without unnecessary complexity or jargon. The authors emphasize the importance of cutting through the noise. Chapter 2, Unexpected. Summary: the second principle is unexpectedness. The authors argue that in order to get attention and make an idea stick, you need to break people's patterns and introduce the unexpected. When ideas are predictable, they quickly fade away. To keep ideas memorable, they must contain an element of surprise that captures attention and creates curiosity. Example: the Got Milk campaign used unexpected humor and created curiosity. Instead of just promoting milk, the campaign surprised people with the notion that being without milk could lead to socially awkward situations. Key concept: the key to making an idea stick is to engage the audience's curiosity by defying expectations. You can do this by presenting surprising facts, reversing conventional wisdom, or using an unexpected twist in your messaging. Chapter 3, Concrete. Summary: the third principle is concreteness. Ideas that are abstract or vague are difficult to grasp and remember. To make ideas stick, they need to be made concrete, something that people can visualize and understand in clear, sensory terms. Example: NASA's "Failure is not an option" slogan is a concrete example of a powerful, clear, and memorable message. The message was simple and direct, using the concrete idea of failure to highlight the gravity of the situation. Key concept: to make ideas concrete, use clear language, vivid imagery, and specific details that the audience can easily picture. The more concrete the idea, the more likely it will resonate and stick. Chapter 4, Credible. Summary: the fourth principle is credibility. People tend to believe ideas that come from credible sources, but they also need evidence that the idea is trustworthy. The chapter explains how credibility can be established through expertise, statistics, or even personal experience. Example: the authors refer to the campaign, The Truth, which was created to convince teens to stop smoking. The campaign used a credible, non-corporate source, teenagers talking directly about smoking, and included personal testimony, which helped make the message stick. Key concept: to make an idea stick, it must come from a credible source. Credibility can be built using expert testimony, data, personal anecdotes, or stories that reinforce the idea's reliability. Chapter 5, Emotional. Summary: the fifth principle is emotionality. People care about ideas that resonate with them emotionally. The Heath brothers explain that in order to make ideas stick, they must tap into people's emotions, whether it's through empathy, fear, joy, or anger. Emotional connections make ideas more relatable and motivate people to take action. Example: the authors discuss how charity campaigns that feature personal stories, as opposed to just statistics, are more effective at generating donations because they connect emotionally with the audience. Key concept: people act on their emotions more than on facts alone. By making your message emotionally engaging, you increase the chances that it will be remembered and acted upon. Chapter 6, Stories. Summary: the final principle is stories. The Heath brothers argue that stories are one of the most powerful ways to make ideas stick. Stories engage people's attention, and they help convey complex ideas in an easy-to-understand and relatable way. Stories not only make an idea memorable but also inspire action. Example: the authors use the example of the urban legend about the poison in Halloween candy to demonstrate the power of stories. These types of stories, although not always true, spread easily because they evoke fear, emotion, and urgency. Key concept: people love stories because they are relatable, engaging, and easy to remember. By wrapping your idea into a story, you can increase its emotional impact and stickiness. Conclusion: the power of stickiness. Summary: in the conclusion, the Heath brothers reiterate the 6 principles that make ideas stick: simplicity, unexpectedness, concreteness, credibility, emotionality, and stories. They emphasize that making an idea stick is not just about delivering information, but making that information engaging, memorable, and motivating. Key concept: ideas that stick do more than just inform, they inspire action. The authors encourage readers to use these principles in their own lives to communicate more effectively and to create ideas that truly resonate. Key takeaways: simplicity, focus on the core message of your idea. Strip away the unnecessary to get to the essence. Unexpectedness, use surprise and novelty to grab attention and make people curious. Concreteness, make your idea tangible and easy to visualize using vivid examples. Credibility, build trust by using credible sources, evidence, and personal testimony. Emotionality, make people care about your idea by connecting emotionally with them. Stories, use stories to illustrate your idea and inspire action. Conclusion: the power of stickiness. In the final section of Made to Stick, the Heath brothers reiterate the 6 principles that make ideas sticky: simplicity, unexpectedness, concreteness, credibility, emotional appeal, and stories. They emphasize that these principles are not just abstract concepts but practical tools that anyone can use to communicate more effectively. Key takeaways from the conclusion: the 6 principles of stickiness. Simplicity, focus on the core of the message. The authors stress that in order to make an idea stick, it must be boiled down to its essence. The heart of the idea should be conveyed as simply and clearly as possible, without unnecessary complexity. Unexpectedness, break the patterns of the audience. By introducing something surprising or counterintuitive, you grab their attention and keep them engaged. Concreteness, use vivid, tangible examples. Abstract ideas are hard to grasp and remember, so ideas that are concrete and specific are far more likely to resonate with audiences. Credibility, make the idea believable. Whether through statistics, expert testimony, or real-life stories, credible sources help validate the message and build trust. Emotional appeal, make the idea personal and emotional. People are more likely to care about and act on ideas that resonate with them emotionally. Stories, use storytelling to communicate your message. Stories help illustrate ideas in an engaging way, making them more relatable, memorable, and persuasive. The power of stories. The authors emphasize that stories are the most powerful tool in making ideas stick. Stories are engaging, relatable, and memorable, and they serve as a means of transferring ideas in a way that feels natural to humans. They argue that stories not only help communicate complex ideas but also inspire people to take action. The importance of making ideas last. In the conclusion, the Heath brothers make the point that the goal of communication is not merely to inform but to inspire action. They emphasize that sticky ideas have the power to change people's behaviors, shift perceptions, and influence decisions. They acknowledge that while ideas may not always stick immediately, applying these principles will give an idea a better chance of success in the long term. The role of emotion in ideas that stick. Throughout the book, the authors highlight that for an idea to truly be memorable, it needs to strike an emotional chord. Emotions drive action, so it's crucial to tap into the feelings of the audience to make an idea stick. The Curse of Knowledge Revisited. In the final pages, the Heath brothers return to the curse of knowledge introduced in the introduction. They reiterate that overcoming this curse is essential for creating ideas that are easy to understand and remember. Communicators must simplify their messages and avoid jargon, assuming that the audience does not have the same background knowledge as they do. Making ideas stick in the real world. The Heath brothers provide practical advice for applying the principles discussed throughout the book in real-world situations. Whether you're delivering a speech, designing an advertising campaign, or trying to communicate with a team, the 6 principles are versatile and can be adapted to various contexts. Final thought. The conclusion wraps up with a call to action. The Heath brothers encourage readers to use these principles not just for professional success but for personal communication as well. They suggest that these tools can help anyone, from educators to leaders to marketers, make their ideas more compelling and lasting. Thank you for watching. Keep support for daily videos. Make sure like, comment and share. Don't forget to subscribe our channel Minutes Audiobook.